There is so much more to life than what we see. What if we were capable of feeling it? This is the Inner Guide Podcast, a journey back to you. Welcome to the Inner Guide Podcast. My name is Isabel Churchill, and I'm your host for this journey back to you. Today we talk about my favorite subject, which is energy. We're going to talk a little bit more about energy healing and the different modalities that I use and that exist out there, but also about why investing time and energy into energy healing. I've been in the field of energy healing since 2013. I have utilized energy healing in my psychotherapy practice a lot, where I felt that it was helping my clients to open up a little bit more and also process emotions and let go of certain aspects of them that was no longer serving them. But Reiki only became really present in my life around 2019. I launched a Reiki course online, which is not yet available in English, but will be. And I launched it back in 2019 and had so much success out of it that it really allowed me to learn so much more about Reiki. When you become a teacher, you really become more well-versed in the field, but also you receive so much feedback and experiences from your students that it can only allow you to grow even further more and really be knowledgeable in the field, because I am now at over 5,000 students and I have really connected with many of them, and every month I have a group meeting where they ask their questions in groups and I am able to answer certain questions. And I've realized that a lot of people, I thought it was just me, but most of us have not really been taught about the energy body, about energy healing and how it can help us. And it's just been a fascinating journey, because waking up to the world of energy have allowed me to understand so many aspects of myself. And I want to bring a little aspect that I think it's important to pay attention to. I do consider the body as being physical, mental, and energy. Today we're just focusing on the energy aspect, but I am one of those people who truly believe that the energy body is where everything stems from. Emotions and illnesses or happiness or any experiences, based on my belief and experience, stems from the energy in itself that we vibrate at, the frequency that we have. Especially now, I want to say that since October of last year, so about a year ago, we've shifted the energy where it is now more about your thoughts. It's a lot about what you think of happen. And you have to be really mindful. Mindfulness is a really important tool right now to be capable of understanding what you're thinking of and how your thoughts are having an impact on your daily life. I want to say that most of my experiences in the past year is, as soon as I think something, it almost manifests itself. And it's kind of scary to some extent, because low vibration, or low frequency energy like fear and sadness and anger have the tendency to materialize way faster, because they have a lower frequency, which means that they're closer to the density to manifest physically. So if you are in a bad space mentally, you are pretty much certain of continuing to manifest this negativity around you. And positive emotions, vibes, or frequency are much higher. So they are not as close to physical matter in reality. But if we are able to sustain our frequency pretty high, and I feel like I've talked about that in one of the first episodes about the energy body, if we're able to hold it up like that at a certain frequency that is pretty high, we're capable of manifesting a lot more positive aspects into our journey. What energy healing does, especially the modality of Reiki, is that it brings back the whole energy field into harmony, and it allows every chakra to get back into balance, which is to find this harmony and balance inside and then being capable of manifesting it outside. So whenever I work with people with energy healing, they come in my office and I recalibrate their whole energy field, and I recalibrate their energy centers so that everything is back in balance and in harmony. And when they go back home, they are pretty much on their high energy, high frequency, and they're floating on their cloud. But when we go back home and we encounter again the same issue, that's going to drop us pretty quickly. So there's a lot of things that we need to put into application in order to sustain this energy. So the energy healing, just like medication, just like a psychologist or psychotherapy, cannot be sustained, or the positiveness of the experience cannot be sustained unless you make a major change in your life in order to sustain it. But I feel like energy healing kind of give us this opportunity to reach a state of mind, a state at the heart that allows us to really put in place those changes. So if you're going through a change, go get a Reiki session, go get an energy healing session where you can actually bring yourself back centered, in balance, and then from there you can make more clear decisions. I find that after a Reiki session on myself, it's so much easier for me to find clarity and to be able to really make decisions from my center, from my heart center. That is. Energy is all around us, and we're not really educated about it. And there's this sense of disbelief about it, or not believing that it exists, or having this complex challenge in understanding how it works. And that's what blows my mind. So yet we have machines, we have technology that is capable of communicating from one city or from one country to another overseas, communicate without being physically connected. We're capable of communicating through a phone, through a computer. You're probably listening to this in a complete different city than Washington, D.C. area. But yet we're still able to pass the message and communicate with each other. And you don't question that because you know it works. I mean, we're talking with each other. You know it works. So why would you question how it's designed or if it's working or not? Because you know it is. And that's the thing with Reiki or any energy healing modality, is that it's hard to believe in it or not if you've never really truly experienced it. So I always tell people to actually try it and go and try the experience of energy healing. There's different modalities that exist. There's healing touch. There's Usui Reiki, which is what I practice. There is energy medicine, which is what I practice. So I use combinations of techniques. I use some hand position that I've learned in Reiki. I use some of the training that I had in Laoshi. I've used, which is another modality similar to Reiki. I use biomagnetism. There's different tools that I add, but the basis of it is energy. And go with what speaks to you. But what's the most important when you seek help energetically is, do you jive with the practitioner? Is the practitioner in alignment with yourself? And that applies for everything. Make sure you feel in alignment with the person who's providing you services and help. If you don't feel aligned with the person, there will be something off in the energy exchange. And especially in energy healing, because the exchange is purely energetic. So if you are not in alignment with the practitioner, you'll end up hurting more your energy field than if you would have never seek help from that person. Same with channeling or mediumship. I do channeling and mediumship through my channeling services. And for me, it's always extremely important that I feel that me and my clients are connected. If I don't feel that connection, I will be happily referring them to someone else. And it has happened in the past where I referred some clients to somebody else because I just felt I was not the right fit for them. And that's being of service to others. Sometimes being of service to others is saying no to some services because we just know that it's not going to be a good outcome for them. So whenever you seek energy healing, make sure you're in integrity with the person. Make sure, and feel free to call the person and ask some questions and see if you're feeling the person. Often we just schedule it online and show up and then we realize, oh, it's not a good fit, but it's almost too late when you're there. But for me, if I realize that it's not a good fit when I'm there, I'm just going to be like, I'm sorry, this is not a good fit. It's just not going to work out. And this is the beauty of discernment, is you're capable of discerning the energies pretty quickly when you start tapping into your intuition and your ability to sense yourself. And intuition is not just energy. You have to be in touch with your physical body in order to be intuitive. So it's all aligned, it's all connected. And that's why we cannot really just take the energy aspect alone. It's not a stand alone. It's part of a whole system within, which is the mind and the physical body also. So when I do energy healing, I do have to work really hard on my physical body and also my mind in order to sustain the energy, in order to be capable of always being the best channel I can be when I channel energies. So it's really important for me to be in this optimal aspect in order to be energetically connected and be the best channel I can be. And that is probably what brings me the most success, is because I am capable of letting go of certain aspects, but also being quite disciplined in my nutrition and my exercise and my daily life, so that I don't hurt the container, which is the physical body. And that the physical body is capable of channeling the energy. Sorry. So that's really important to understand that it's all connected. Even though we're talking about energy, physical and mind is extremely important. And I couldn't do what I do without mastering my mind, without being capable of recognizing when it's my ego driving my decisions or when it's my heart driving the decisions. And that takes a little while for you to master. And I say master, I don't necessarily think I fully mastered it, but I'm starting to be more and more conscious about it, and also knowing when it's having an impact on my practice. And I can fully recognize at that point in time that I'm not an optimal channel, which is not being of service to others when we can't be an optimal channel. But it's not expected either to be an optimal channel at all the time. But that's what will make a good channeler and a good practitioner in energy healing versus one that is so-so. The other thing I want to bring up about energy is that it's not just about your own energy. There is collective energies. Collective energies are energies that are stemming from the society, from the people on Earth. And I heard somebody say once, and that really resonated in me, so feel free to pay attention if it speaks to you or not, but somebody said that 50% of our energy was ours and the other 50 was the collective. And that really spoke to me because sometimes it's really hard to disconnect from some emotions. And being pretty connected to myself, I have the tendency to really know, okay, this doesn't belong to me, but yet I'm still feeling it. Like today it's raining. It's been raining for like 3 or 4 days in the area. We just had this hurricane going through Florida and sending you tons of beautiful energy and healing energy. Anyone who was affected by the hurricane, I know was a tough one for many. But we can also feel that energy in the collective where there has been a lot of sadness. Today I'm recording, it's October 3rd, and I did feel a lot of sadness last week. So the last week of September, a lot of crying going on through my energy healing sessions, my personal sessions, but also with others. And I noticed that when there is collective energy like that, a lot of us who are intuitive will easily tap into it. And if you're not aware of the collective energy or of what's going on in the collective energy, you will have the tendency to believe that there's something wrong with you. You'll have the tendency to think you're depressed, especially this time of the year. It's such a time where seasonal depressions start appearing in America. And the collective is starting to feel a little bit challenged by the lack of sun. And I can appreciate that because I come from a place where I had seasonal depression before I discovered modalities to heal myself outside of medication. It was a really hard time for me. And those are the type of energies that affect the collective. But there's also other types of energies that affect us. There's the planets, the moon, the solar flares, which have an impact on the Schumann resonance also, which is the frequency of the earth. All that has an impact with our energy. And the more we're raising frequency on Earth, the more we're evolving in the humanity, in our own energy, the more we're sensitive to that because we just become all one. We just become all connected. So it becomes really challenging, especially right now. I think there's a few planets that are no longer in retrograde, but there was a point in time in September where I believe there was 6 or 7 planets in retrograde, which must have a certain impact on us, which means that there was probably a lot of inner work being done, a lot of things maybe being blocked from moving forward, because the retrograde is like this past, right? It's like the past aspect. It's behind. So when you think of Mercury retrograde, which is probably the retrograde that we know the most about, it's all about reflecting, working on self, revisiting some aspects of us that need to heal, things that we haven't fully dealt with in the past years. So cycles might repeat. Most relationship that we create during Mercury retrograde are relationships that are there to teach us something. So it's really a time that can be quite challenging. So those energies have an impact on us, a huge impact. And I don't know why, but if you're an astrologist and you understand the impact, please let me know. But for some reason, I want to say since March, the full moon is having this huge impact on me. And I'm not a moon person. Like, I don't follow the phases of the moon. But I'm telling you, since March, I'm like an expert on the moon phase because I know exactly when it is a full moon. I know exactly when it's a new moon. I know when it's a half moon. Like, I just feel it in my energy. I'm impacted differently on those phases. And it's only because I started realizing that it was connected to to this aspect of the moon, because I would say to people like, I don't know, I haven't slept all night, and the person will say, oh, well, it's a full moon. And then I would say, oh, I've been so emotional. Oh, well, it's a new moon. And then when it goes well, it's a half moon. But all that to say is to become aware of those external energies makes such a huge impact, because now you have an explanation and the ego can understand that there's nothing wrong with you. There's something else at play. So there is an impact from this collective energy, and also the planets and the moon and the stars and all this aspect, that the universe that surrounds us. And the more we evolve, the more we, what people call ascend, the ascension energy, which to me, I feel like the word ascension, I'm not always fully comfortable with it. I understand what it means now, but I feel like some people sometimes think that ascension means elevating yourself. And that's absolutely not how I see it, because first, for me, there's no higher self. It's an inner self. So I feel like we've been moving a lot on looking at things that are best for us as external to us. And I feel like when we say ascension, it's like we're rising towards something. But that's not how I perceive it. When I use the word ascension, I mean that there's a process of evolution that is happening, something that is evolving within you. And ascension energies, which are energies that are coming on Earth, that's how I see it. So it's energies that are being available on Earth that we can receive in order to ascend, or to me, to evolve. That's how I see it. Those ascension energies have been quite present in the past week. So I want to say last week of September 2022, it's been quite present, and that's usually like that. It's not unusual after the energy of Sirius and the Lion's Gate, which is between early July till mid-August. It's not unusual after that to have ascension energies that are available. And that when that happened, there's a lot of physical manifestation for me. There's a lot of physical reaction. Some people will react differently, but for me, ascension energy always brings some physical issues. Like right now, I'm struggling with a foot issue. I just got back from my physician because I have something weird happening in my belly, and it's just been like quite a challenge physically. And I go to my physician because not to get medication or anything like that, to get the knowledge. Because for me, once I have the knowledge of what on the medical level is going on with my body, I can then I feel I can make a better conscious decision of what energy healing modality I can use, what food I need to eat. And I have an amazing doctor. She just gave me a list of food that I might want to test not eating to see if it has an impact. So if you can find a practitioner that's really open and that really she is not about medication, which to me is absolutely beautiful to work with some physicians who are not easy to prescribe medication, because it allows us to do our own work also. And I truly believe that the physical symptoms are there for a reason. So we shouldn't just shut them up with medication. There has to be some attention given to that. But all that to say that we're going through ascension energies, which create a lot of physical issues for many, or for others, it might be more emotional. I've always been more of a physical person than an emotional person. I think I'm a more what we call clairsentient, which is the ability, the intuition through the senses, through the physical senses, versus the emotional aspect. So that's for me. That's how I process things. And give yourself some space and time. And if you haven't seen my energy update for October, I strongly recommend that you go check it out, because there is really good information there on how you can prepare for the energies coming up in October. And it's on my YouTube channel. You just have to go on YouTube, search Inner Guide Center, and you'll find me. You'll see me pop right there. All the podcasts are there too. But I just did this first live energy update, which I'll be doing every month around the 25th and the 30th of the month is when I release them. If you subscribe to my channel, you'll get updates when the next one is coming up. But all that to say that the energy of October is quite particular, and October is always a particular moment in the energies, because it seems to be a moment where they call it the veil is thinning. I don't think it's a coincidence that Halloween is at the end of October, because that's kind of when the veil or the separation between dimension becomes really thin and more accessible. So I'm not surprised we celebrate ghost and scary energy, because it's kind of when we remove that veil between our physical reality and the subtle energies that surrounds us. So October is always a great time to do spiritual and energy work. I love my Reiki sessions in October, and I love my channeling sessions in October, because the information becomes so clear, so accessible. So if you're the kind of person that get a channeling a year or an energy healing a year, October is like the best for that, because it's so much accessible. But again, make sure that you trust your practitioner, because some practitioners are not in alignment and centered, and will have the tendency to maybe pull on the wrong energies in October. Because again, if your practitioner is not capable of discerning the energy, in October, everything is wide open and accessible. So it's really important to make sure that you're working with somebody who is conscious of discernment and the different energies around. If you have any doubt, I would just not seek help from that person. Because last year, a lot of practitioners in my field and channelers stopped channeling because the energy was so corrupted. I don't sense that this year. I don't sense that corruption in the energy. But just be mindful that during October is a time when the veil is thin between both worlds. And sometimes it means that you have to be really mindful that you're truly connected with high frequency beings or high frequency spirits. And if you have this ability to discern, it's really a beauty to do the work during this month. It's so much more clear, more accessible, and also it provide us some pretty straightforward guidance. So to me, it's one of my favorite months to do that type of work. So I think it's fair to say that the energy around us are constantly changing, and so are our own energy. And it shifts throughout the day, but it's good to be conscious of what is going on around us. And I'm going to end on the note of, when you work with energies, discernment is always important. And also learning and growth, and always exploring what else is out there for you. And just go through the motion of it, not the emotion, but through the motions of it. Let go, and they always say let go and let God, which I think is fair. I think it makes sense. I'm not a huge utilizer of the word God. For me, it's more source or the universe. But it's true, when you let go, you allow the universe to provide. And that's the energies that we are invited to face in October, is really to welcome, to surrender to whatever is unfolding, and pay attention to how things are unfolding for you. Pay attention to where the life is directing you, where you're going. It was great connecting with you today, and we'll connect again next week. Until then, take care of you and really take this moment to explore the energies around you, to explore what is going on. And if you ever need help with energy, feel free to reach out. You'll see all my services at the innerguidecenter.com. I do have channeling. I also have energy medicine, energy healing. Just check it out. Maybe there is something that you feel called to try. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You take care.